Right, guys, so let's get started. I think there's a few more people we're just waiting for to turn up, but they can just join in as they go. Hi, guys, it's Toby here, creating the Save My Life program, and I've got a special guest, Wendy, here tonight as well, who is an emotional eating specialist, and we are obviously going to be delivering this great free webinar to you. First of all, guys, you should all have on your control panel a little hand button. If you can hear me, then can you please just all push that little hand button just to let me know that you can hear me and see my screen. Good, lots of hands going up. Catherine, Joanne, good. Charlotte, Gail, good. Paul, Trish, Wendy, good stuff. Looks like we have got some good connection tonight, which is really good. Guys down the bottom, if you can just push your little hand button if you haven't done already, just to make sure that you can hear me. And then we should all be good to go. Okay, great stuff. Good. Right, I'm going to put all those hands down. So it looks like the majority of you can hear me. Just a few housekeeping rules, guys. If you want to ask questions anytime going through this webinar, then please do so. The floor is completely open to you, which is so great about these free webinar trainings that we do. So me and Wendy are going to be able to answer questions as we go through. If we can't, guys, because we're obviously a little bit restricted on time, then we will give you some time at the end to ask us any questions that you might have. Now, that can be anything to do with the emotional eating side or sugar cravings or even down to general weight loss stuff. So the floor is very much open to you. But hopefully you're going to be getting some great content throughout this webinar. Some great content throughout this webinar on everything around the emotional eating side of things. So, guys, the aims of this webinar to get started is to help you break free from the emotional eating side of things. I know that things can be very hard when you're trying to lose weight and you're watching what you're eating and you're doing an exercise regime, and other things outside in general life tend to build up on you. And this is something that can tend to throw you off course. And it's something that you need to, one, look at in terms of why you might not be getting the results that you should be. But also something you maybe need to take a little bit of a pinch of salt, because obviously we can't depict what happens to us every day. And obviously there is going to be things which throw us off. But some of the things that we're going to talk about in the webinar tonight are going to be things which you can improve on if you're just a little bit more mindful of them. So we're going to try and help you realize when, or not get to know when you're actually truly hungry and when you've had enough. So you can stop eating that point easily and comfortably, and you recognize when you're at that stage. And we want you to enjoy your food, but keep it in perspective, as it's for nourishing your body and not for your emotional needs. Quite a few people form attachments with food emotionally, something that you might be aware of or you might not be aware of, whether you eat when you're stressed or when you're in a state of anxiety. But that's something we're going to touch on tonight. And also getting out of the guilt side of things. Maybe you do have cravings for sugar and then you go and eat something that you shouldn't have, or maybe you crave certain foods at certain times of the month, it might be, or after certain events, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that, and it's normal, and you're not the only person that it happens to. So it's just a case of getting yourself into the mindset where, you know what, that's happened. You can't do anything about it because it's in the past, and now you've got to look to the future and very much be in the present moment with what you're eating and keeping your mind in that zone whereby you know where you're going with your next step. And hopefully, if you can get control of this, you're going to be able to lose weight effortlessly and keep it off. And obviously, with the principles that we teach on this program around nutrition, which we're not going to focus a lot on tonight, but we are going to touch on bits and pieces, and obviously you can ask questions on that, how you can keep in that zone and don't let things like the stress and other things that happen in everyday life build up on you. Now, some of you might not have heard of the Save My Life program before. We might have popped up on your Facebook feed or your Twitter feed or something like that. Now, that's something we tend to do. So Yeah, sorry about that. But we're a specialist company that work with people in the obese and morbidly obese weight range. We don't tend to work with people who just have a few stones to lose, and all of our clients tend to be over 14 stone, which puts them slightly into that obese high end of the overweight category. And most people generally, in comparison to their height, have around sort of 4 stone to lose if they're at that weight. Now, through our programs, we're going to educate, train, and we give you nutritional advice and diet advice, and also exercise as well with some of our programs. But the main thing that we thrive on is the accountability and the support side. A lot of our guys that are on the program tend to have access to that 24/7 support whenever they need it, no matter sort of what level of program you work with us on. And we do this through online group sessions, one-to-one programs, as well as workshop weekends, which we're going to talk a little bit about at the end. But we look at the long-term lifestyle change that people need, rather than the short-term diet mentality where people are always looking for a quick fix. And in a way, guys, you've got to realize that this isn't a quick fix. If you want to do it properly and you want to keep the weight off over a long period of time, you want to make a lifestyle change for you and maybe the others around you, then it's something that you've got to get into the zone mentally. And obviously the emotional eating side of it is about that. And if it's another element that you can control, and another thing you can tick off your list if you manage to master it. And there's a whole different range of techniques and ideas that you can use to do that, as well as just getting your food right and your regime right and maybe your schedule right, which tends to be the most basic things. But then obviously we're going a little bit deeper with this webinar. Now, if you haven't come across me before, guys, I'm an obesity specialist and body transformation coach. So I only work with morbidly obese individuals, generally on a one-to-one basis. But obviously, I work with all of the guys that are on the program. I'm a fitness coach and nutritional expert, and I've trained over 100 obese and morbidly obese individuals. Now, the Save My Life program's been going about 2.5 years now. So obviously we have a lot of guys come through our doors with different problems, and obviously everyone has different issues. And it's something that we cater for on an individual basis. Some of you might be here tonight because you've searched things like the year to save my life or Fat 5 my life on Google or something like that, whereby I was a part of those programs, having trained a participant on there, Darren Murr, who lost 10 stone in 8 months. So everything that we teach is based around those principles and how those guys get into that mindset. Now, we've got Wendy on here as well. I'm going to unmute her now because she's our special guest tonight. Wendy needs no introduction, but I'm going to allow her to introduce herself. So, Wendy, can you hear me? You should be able to.
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me, Toby?
Hello, Wendy. Wendy, can you hear me?
Hi, can you hear me?
Oh, yeah. Sorry, I'm having problems with my microphone and my headphones. Sorry. Yeah, I've got you now. Good stuff, guys. So introduce yourself to the guys, Wendy, and obviously we'll go from there.
Hi, Toby. It's really nice of you to invite me to this webinar this evening. I'm really looking forward to talking to people about how emotional eating affects our weight and our relationship with food. As you can see from the slide, I'm a confidence coach, a counsellor and a hypnotherapist, and I work with people who bring all kinds of issues, including anxiety, stress and weight loss. And I really do believe, and it is my experience, that the underlying issues of most of these things are a lack of confidence and belief in ourselves. So that's why I specialise in working with women especially to work on their confidence. But I also work with people who struggle with issues around their food and their relationship with food, helping them to improve themselves and to feel good, not just because it's good to feel good on the outside, but if you feel good on the inside as well and you look good, you're going to feel much more confident. And that's what I really, really enjoy helping with. So yeah, that's kind of about me at the moment. So perhaps we can move on to
Yeah,
the
definitely.
influence.
Let's get cracking. It's great to have you here, Wendy. Really, really is.
Thank you. So, shall we move on to talking about what are the influences? What influences our eating habits? Um, well, there are all kinds of things. We don't actually really think about, I guess, we don't think about where we are, um, the place that we might be. We might be in a supermarket where we can smell that food because we know the supermarkets are really smart and they push those smells of freshly roast chicken out to us the minute we walk in the door. So that gets us in the frame of mind of wanting to eat and wanting to buy food. Um, and there's also that kind of thing about whoever we're with as well, because I think other people can encourage us to, oh, go on, just have that donut. You know you want to. It won't hurt. Just one won't hurt. So, yeah, other people can influence us as well. That's all that.
That
That
tends to be a big
food.
one, doesn't it, Wendy, in terms of influence, in
Again?
terms of it tends to be quite a big thing, doesn't it, in terms of people that are around us that not just in
Yeah,
the supermarket and stuff, but obviously others putting pressure on us maybe because they're not doing the same as us or things like
yeah,
that.
yeah. I think so. Either they don't have a food issue at all, or they have, and they're not wanting to address it. So it means they've got a partner in crime, really, doesn't it? If they can actually say, "Go on, you have it," that means it gives them permission to have that donut or whatever that is, or that
And,
extra glass of wine or whatever
and I
that thing
suppose
is.
in
That
some cases there may be a little bit of jealousy creeping in there as well.
yeah, yeah. I think so.
Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
definitely.
So
But
ignore
yeah,
me,
they're all
guys.
yeah, and we talk about, the food displays and the advertising in shops. The supermarkets really know how to do it, and the music. If we are hearing kind of cheerful music and it's getting us in the mood, there's that feel-good factor, we're going to buy more. And supermarkets have done a lot of work on this. They know how to entice us to spend more money, and that's what the name of the game is. Not really worrying about us, but how much more profit they can make. I guess the other external influence that we have is the cultural events. It could be birthdays, Christmas, holidays, any excuse just to celebrate. We tend to use food to do that quite a lot. So I think there's a reminder of how that can be quite tempting. And there are so many, those are external influences. We don't always notice them. So I think it's good to notice what's going on around us.
Yeah, because I mean, in a way, Wendy, all these sort of things hit our subconscious, don't they? We've got all these.
Yeah.
We don't really notice it, guys, but we've got all these millions and millions of pieces of information hitting our brain all at one go. And I know it sounds a bit out there, but all of them are there for a reason, especially with these big companies and supermarkets who have designed their shops in a certain way and if you don't know, but they pump certain smells and stuff through the air conditioning systems in order to lure you into certain parts of the store. I think especially, I mean, going back to the smell thing, especially when you smell things like fresh bread and things like that, obviously you could go as far to say some of these companies make big profits on those sorts of product. So again, they're not the best product for you either, which is why they're made of cheap ingredients, which in a way is going to contribute to your weight gain. But obviously, all these bits of information when they're hitting you when you don't really realise, aren't they?
Mm,
Uh,
absolutely.
and it's the whole lot, guys.
Yeah, they're
But,
they're very smart at doing this to us, aren't they?
yeah. So
I think one thing a tip I would really suggest, and I do it myself, is make a shopping list before you go and stick to it. And don't shop when you're hungry. And they're two really good tips, and I do use them because I know I can be tempted. Um, so I think, yeah, I make a shopping list and I tick the things off as I buy them, and I just know what I'm going to go in there for, and I just bypass all those other particular.
places.
I bypass all those particular places.
Definitely.
So, shall we move on to the
Yeah.
next
So, I
slide?
mean,
Yeah.
in terms of the nutrition bit, guys, and going into these supermarkets, and you've got to be a little bit more planning, if you like. I know we said about making food lists and things before you go, which is a great way of doing it. But obviously, there's certain aisles and stuff you need to stick to. Now, obviously, most of you are here because you want to aid your weight loss and eliminate the emotional eating side. One way you can do that is by consuming good food. Now, when you're going to the supermarket, the best things to do are limit yourself to certain aisles. Okay. Now, the aisles, as you can see on the left here on the slides, you've got fruit and veg aisle. I know that's a given, and most of you probably already know that. Fresh meat and fresh fish. And then you've got other things as well, like your staples, your teas and coffees, and your drink aisle. Now, with your fruit and veg, make notes on this, guys, because this is key nutritional information. So with your fruit and veg, especially if you're starting off your weight loss journey, then you can eat as much of those sorts of things you like. They're good sources of nutrition. They're not going to send your blood sugar levels up too high, which is going to cause you to gain weight through a hormone called insulin being released. So you can stick to as much fruit and veg as you like. What I tend to say is stick away from like your tropical fruits, because they tend to be the highest in sugar and will give you the biggest insulin boost, which in turn, if you're not burning that sugar off, then it's going to be stored as fat in the body. Now, protein's obviously important, so keep your fresh meat and fish. I predominantly go for white sauces, not too much red meat, because they contain slightly higher levels of saturated fat, which aren't good for things like cholesterol levels. And you should really only be having red meat once or twice a week. Your staples. Now, this is the aisles in the supermarket which tend to overlap with other things. So your staples, when we say that, we mean like your complex carbohydrates, so things like potatoes, rice, pasta, those sorts of things. Now, all of those are complex carbohydrates, but they're all sources of sugar still. They're just a bigger molecule of sugar. So they're all going to cause your insulin levels to increase. Now, if you don't know a lot about that, guys, then maybe have a look over our website for some old blogs and information on there, and also webinars as well to explain a little bit more about that. But most of you, if you've been looking into weight loss and stuff for a while, should know about these sorts of things. Now, with your carbohydrates, you want to stick to things like sweet potatoes, your whole grain rice, your whole grain pasta, and reduce your intake of anything white. So keep away in the supermarket from things like your white breads, your white pastas. Obviously, sweets, chocolate, all that sort of thing contains white sugar, which is then just put into a different form. And stick away, especially from breads and pastas and stuff, because they are quite heavy on your digestive system. Now, teas and coffees based, try and reduce your caffeine intake. This is something which can increase your ability to crave sugar, especially in times of emotional distress or anxiety. Your cortisol, which is your stress hormone, will increase, and caffeine will increase that further. So in which case, try and stick to green teas and fruit teas and change to those sorts of things if you can when having those. And also drinks wise, try and keep to plenty of water. Keep away from fizzy drinks, because obviously they contain sugar and other nasties like aspartame, which is sweeteners, which can also cause you to crave more sugary foods when you're in a time of emotional imbalance. And obviously keep away from these sorts of things in the aisle. Like, they're going to be putting up deals 2 for 1 on things like crisps and all that sort of stuff. But just when you go in there, be a little bit more aware of those things. Say, okay, oh yeah, look at that sign. It's 2 for 1 on bags of crisps or sweets or whatever you might tend to grab in there, or in a time of emotional eating. If you're going into the petrol garage on the way home or something like that, and you see these sorts of signs, they're automatically going to take you and draw you in. So just be a little bit more conscious of those sorts of things, and obviously keep away from the things on here: pastries, confectionery, chocolate desserts, all those sorts of things, basically vegetables, all those sorts of things are going to draw you into that high sugar, high fat combination, which is going to increase your weight rapidly, or increase the chances of you storing those sorts of foods. So the nutrition side of it does link quite heavily in with the emotional eating side, but so does the hormones. But that's something else that we're going to talk about on a different occasion. Wendy, you're going to talk a little bit about internal influences. So this is getting down to more of the nitty gritty stuff in terms of the emotional eating side.
Yeah, I think that's a big one as well, because I think we need to think about, where did our relationship with food begin? Was it in childhood? Were there messages that we received? I mean, mums believe that to look after them and love their children, then they want to feed them. So there's messages that we receive. Oh, eat up, you really need this. That mums want to make sure their children eat. Just one more spoonful, go on. If you eat that, you can have a treat afterwards, which is going to be another kind of food, which is probably going to be sweets. So those kind of influences really do affect us. And I think, what kind of habits do we have? Do we just eat and not think about what we're eating? Do we eat and we're distracted? If we don't pay attention to what we're eating, we just kind of eat that food and not even notice what's going inside our mouths. And you can forget 2 minutes later.
Yeah.
I think that's a big one. There are emotional triggers as well. Are you really, really hungry? Do you really feel that sense of hunger for food, or are you mistaking that feeling of hunger when it's actually something else going on inside you? Maybe you're bored, maybe you're stressed, maybe you're anxious, maybe you are just feeling an emptiness, but it's not actually an emptiness for food. And I really like thinking about that and working with my clients around that, because you can really notice, is that really hunger, or is it that there are other things going on around you?
So Wendy, with this emotional eating side of it, if for the guys listening, would it be, so for instance, when they get that craving for sugar or something like that, and they're in that sort of stressed out or emotional zone, would it be best for them maybe to sit down before they take action on anything and write down how they feel? Is that something that would help them realise and sort of get to the bottom of why they're eating something?
Yeah, I think it's really a good idea to actually sit and, as you say, sit down and really notice what's going on around you. Get to know that hungry feeling. Get to know what it's like for you to be hungry. Is it a rumbling tummy? Is it that you get a headache? Is it that you get sick? Is it that you get wobbly legs? That's when you really know. So get to know what your trigger is, what your identification is, and we'll lead into that a bit later with the mindfulness, but really notice what's going on, and are there other things? Is it a distraction? Actually, I'm not enjoying what I'm doing, so if I go and get myself something to eat, and you don't, you're procrastinating because you don't want to do whatever it is, and it's a good distraction. So yeah, I think there's something very much about that. And I think the other side of it is stretching. I find stretching time is a really good one. If you feel you want to have that snack, if you're tempted to reach for that food, stretch the time. Do something else for 5 minutes. If you can't manage 5 minutes, try 1 to start with, and then stretch it. So have a drink of water, because water will help fill you up anyway. Try and do something else. Tell yourself, oh, I'll just do the washing up. I'll just go and do something. I mean, menial perhaps, but it's distracting enough that you can stretch that time, and you're putting off that moment of reaching for that food.
And you can pull away. Yeah, I mean, with a few of our clients, or my clients as well, anyway, we tend to say, like, if you really, really get a craving for something, you're going to grab it, then allow yourself to grab it, but almost before you eat it, sit down, put it in front of you, and time yourself for, like, maybe 5 minutes, and you don't allow yourself to eat that for 5 minutes. You look at I mean, I know it sounds funny, guys, but it's a way of doing it. You sit there, you look at it, the food that you want to eat, and then you think about what it's going to taste like. Is it going to be worth it? Why are you eating it? And even if you only done that for a minute, guys, I mean, I know 5 minutes is a long time, but even a minute, 2 minutes, just to take time to think why you're doing that, then you'll find that you'll catch yourself out, if you like, because obviously you do everything a little bit on autopilot. And also the whole part of this process, guys, is tracking as well. So, for instance, when, like we said about the habit side of things and the emotional side of things, then maybe like record what times of the day you eat, and if you are going to eat something or you have eaten something that you shouldn't have because you're stressed or whatever, then write it down, and then you might find that there's a pattern there, and it's establishing patterns about yourself and your eating habits, which is what's going to take you to the next step, and make you realize what those triggers are and whether it's a habit and whether you actually feel hungry or not.
That's a really good idea.
Yeah. I mean, is there anything else that you can sort of input on there, Wendy? I know we're going to talk a little bit about being mindful and stuff in a minute.
Yeah. I just think I think also sitting down to eat. Don't eat when you're walking around or you're preparing food. Really sit down and eat and put it on a plate. Don't eat from, I don't know, just out of the packet, or, yeah, because really much. Say again?
You lose track then, don't you? You lose track of
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's so easy to do that. If you're just eating a biscuit or something and you're walking around, before you know it, you've forgotten you had that biscuit and you've reached for another one. If you sit down and put it on a plate in front of you, you're going to be noticing far more what you are eating. So, yeah, that's another one. I think it's a really good one. I think the other thing is that I find that people do set their expectations too high. I don't know about you, Toby, but I find that people, they say, I want to lose X amount of stone in a very short time, and then there's that sense of setting yourself up to fail, and then you're not going to even try. You say, well, what's the point? It didn't work. I'm not losing the weight. And I think that can be quite a deterrent then, because, well, you let yourself off the hook for a start, but the other side of it is you're not feeling good about yourself.
Yeah.
And the other side is fear of success. What would it mean if you lost that weight? What's the other side of it? Because although it's great to want to lose that weight, there might be something that you really don't want to face if you lose that weight.
Yeah. So, what would an example of that be, Wendy? Maybe. I mean, what sort of?
I had one client especially. She really didn't want to lose the weight because she was worried about the way she'd look, because she didn't feel that her body would go back to the size and shape it was before.
Yeah, I mean, loose skin is a big thing people tend to worry about, don't they?
Yeah, I think it's a big one. And sometimes people don't want to, maybe they haven't got a very good relationship, and it might mean that their partner is going to be more attracted to them, and that's quite fearful. Okay. I know that's quite a deep one to talk about, but I think in relationships sometimes, well, all the time I've got this weight, they're not going to come near me because I don't really like them, and I don't want their attention, or I don't want somebody else's attention. Maybe worried about getting into relationships. So there's quite a lot around it actually.
That can be there, and again, guys, it's just working out what be yours. But sometimes you need. It's very hard to open up to these things on your own, isn't it, Wendy? Sometimes. Yeah. Because they're deep inside, and it's something that people's brains tend to scoot over, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. They don't want to face it, and they're blocking it out, and then they self-sabotage, definitely.
Yeah, and I mean, going back to the expectations, guys, I see this all the time with the people I work with and the people that I train and that are in our groups and online programs, etc. They see one person achieve one thing, and then obviously it's nice to have a goal and to aim your sights high. But at the end of the day, everybody is different, and especially when you're in this for the long run, you need to work out what's good for you, what works for you, what doesn't work for you. And I think some people are very impatient sometimes, and do put those expectations too high. If you are setting your goals too high, guys, in terms of your weight loss or what you're eating or how many times you want to exercise a week and you don't do it, then that failure, if you don't hit that goal, then just builds up, builds up, and builds up. And then obviously that puts more stress and emotion on you, which then has a knock on effect. And you get in very much a cycle where it goes round and round and round. Whereas if you set your expectations maybe a little bit lower or something that you know is achievable for you, so if you know you can achieve half a stone weight loss in a month, or you know you can achieve 1 stone weight loss in a month, then aim for that or slightly beneath that, because once you know that you hit that, it's going to make you feel good and put you on a high, which is going to make you more likely to do the things that you need to do and progress with your journey. Because failure just works, has a hard impact, if you like, on the brain, and nobody likes to fail, nobody likes the negative side, and we can tend to be very hard on ourselves when we don't do something. And you need to strip that out of it. You need to think more about the path that you're taking and enjoy the moment and do in the moment, rather than focusing on things that maybe you've been not so successful in the past. I've just had a question come through from someone, Wendy. This one's probably for you, actually. I won't name names on here, guys. But it says, does visualization work, or do you really need to go further to get to the root of emotional eating? That's probably one for you, Wendy.
Yeah, I was just thinking about that as you spoke, to be honest, Toby, and I thought I'll mention that in a little while. Yeah, I really think that visualization can be very helpful. Using as many techniques and tips and that you can use is going to get you there faster. And visualization is really, really useful. If you can visualize yourself looking the way you want to be, and seeing yourself and doing it constantly as many times as you can, visualizing yourself looking good, feeling good, being able to do those things that you really want to do, it actually changes the paths in our brain, and it will make you feel better. It's a very powerful way of thinking about things. So I think visualization is wonderful.
Yeah.
I use it quite a lot with lots of different things.
Yeah, do you know what, Wendy? I was going to say, do you know what? I use it as well. I mean, it is an extremely effective way, not just for weight loss and the emotional eating side, obviously, but for other things as well. But it's something that you have to keep in your brain, isn't it? It's something you have to keep working on.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. And we can actually change our whole brain pattern just by being positive. If we're positive and confident within ourselves, it actually changes the parts in our brain and will affect us. So I think it's great to do that, because if we tell ourselves constantly, I feel bad, I feel low, I feel I look rubbish, I feel bad, I don't want to get out of bed, I don't want to face the day, you know what? You're just giving yourself all those negative messages, and it's almost like it's printing in your brain. So you end up feeling that way because you've given yourself the negative self-talk.
Yeah. I mean, all I'd say, again, guys, with the visualization side, you need to work out if you're the sort of person which focuses more on the short term or the long term. I'm sure Wendy agrees. I mean, for instance, myself, I'm very much a long-term person. I get the picture of what I want in my mind, but I'm not worried about how fast I get there or how fast I achieve it. I just focus on doing the little bits and pieces and steps along the way, no matter how long it takes. And I think that comes with the whole thing of being patient and not wanting everything now. But you either look at that, I think you're either the sort of person which looks at that long goal and just sort of chips away at it, or you're the sort of person which reacts better to short-term goals. For instance, I've got clients which look best at looking rather than even 30 days, as little as 30 days time, they only look towards the next 7 days, and that keeps them very much on the focus. So it depends what sort of person you are. So if you sort of have to have a think about, okay, is it easier for you to stay focused on something which is going to happen in 2 or 3 days time or 7 days time, or is it something that you're more motivated by looking at 6 months or 12 months time, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, everybody's different. And I think I would really, really endorse what you're saying. Small steps. Small steps, because you're less likely to fail. If you try to aim for something too far, which is unattainable, you're going to feel so demotivated and so miserable when you don't achieve it. Whereas if you take the small steps and you achieve them and you can sustain it, you're going to feel so much better.
Right, Wendy, I've got a few other questions come through. Am I all right firing these at you? Is this all right?
Yeah, that's fine.
Cool. So I've got another one coming in. It says, how would it be best to install the self-belief that you can succeed after many years of failure at diet and some exercise plans as well?
The best way of changing your mind?
Installing a new belief.
A new belief. I think that the mantras of just telling yourself that you can do it.
Yeah.
I think those positive messages really help. I would be interested in knowing why that person hasn't succeeded in the past, what it was. But if someone wants something to work on themselves, then I would say meditation, relaxation, and positive messages. So I can do this. I can feel good. I am able to do it. Just those positive messages. Just because it didn't happen before, it doesn't mean I can't do it now.
Everything's got to be positive, hasn't it? I mean, in terms of, even if it's the smallest little thing that's taking you in the right direction, you have to reward yourself for that in some way. Now, obviously, some people tend to reward themselves with food, which isn't a good relationship to have.
No.
Obviously, that we've said about. So it's thinking about and finding something else that you enjoy. It might be spending time with the kids, or buying yourself maybe a new pair of clothes which are in a size smaller, which again gives you a target, something like that. Or even just giving yourself a bit of a well done. But I mean, this links into something else I've just had come through from someone, like that said that other people around you influence your goals sometimes. For instance, when you only lose 1 pound and then they turn around and say, "Is that all?" Now, I mean, I don't know how you would advise people to deal with that, Wendy, but for myself, you have to say that this is your journey. It's not anybody else's. What's right for you is not always right for someone else. And that person, you've got to think, why is that person trying to sabotage or put you down? Is it because they're doing something that you might be doing? For instance, okay, you might have only lost £1 that week, but do you know what? That person hasn't got out off their sofa and gone and achieved a 5K run or a 5K bike ride that week, which in itself is a completely different achievement, which needs to be recognized, because at the end of the day, guys, it's not all about the scales, and that's something that people tend to focus on too much. That I deal with. Don't focus on the scales, focus on you and your lifestyle as a whole, rather than just a number which is appearing on a digital platform beneath your feet.
Yeah, and I think it's too easy to be influenced by others. And you said maybe you've just lost £1, but you know you've lost that £1. Isn't that great? It's something to be celebrated. It's not just £1. You've lost £1. Wonderful. Maybe it'll be more next week. Maybe it won't. But you know what? you're still heading forwards.
Yeah.
And I have a saying that I use myself as well as with clients: keep away from drains and gravitate towards radiators. So if somebody is, draining your energy and giving you negative messages, spend less time with them, because they're going to pull you down. Spend more time with people who are positive and are like-minded and will cheer you on, because that can really be very draining. It is, and I really advocate it for all my clients. If you're feeling bad, you don't want other people who are around you pulling you down.
Yeah.
They're not thinking about you, it's their stuff, and you don't need their stuff.
No.
You need to concentrate on your life.
Yeah, that's it. And Wendy, obviously, sometimes when people go into this self-sabotage zone, they can feel quite negative about themselves. Just quickly before we move on, what can they do to empower themselves and make them feel a little bit more confident and good about themselves? Obviously, to get out of that zone, because if they're in this zone where they're on a low and a negative, then I mean, for instance, a few of my guys, I tell them to do sort of like what's new and good exercise. So they sort of sit down for 5 minutes and write down as many things as they can that's new and good in their life. Doesn't have to be weight loss based or exercise based, or it can be something completely detached from that. I mean, is there any other techniques that you use with your guys?
I think that what's new and good is great. I think any achievements, and it doesn't have to be doesn't have to be huge. It doesn't mean you've climbed Mount Everest, for example. It can be an achievement that you've made yourself, and if that achievement is that you have eaten a healthy meal, if that achievement is that you've walked a certain distance, if that achievement, it doesn't matter how small it is, write it down, because the more we feel good about ourselves, the better it is. Yeah. And I have to share with you, the other evening I went to a talk by Dr. David Hamilton. He's a great believer in an advocator in self-love. And he said that every single morning he stands up in front of the mirror and he does a power pose, a bit like Superman. Yeah. Or Wonder Woman, hands on hips, shoulders back, head held high, and say, I am enough. And he said he's actually grown a couple of inches since he's been doing it, and he does look taller, strangely enough, since the last time I saw him. But just that standing up straight, and really, he said his breathing's got better, and he feels good because he started the day good. And just standing there saying, I'm okay.
And any of these sorts of things, I know they sound silly to some of you guys, but they instantly put you in a positive and a good mood, don't they? And if you start your day in a good way, then it will continue that way, hopefully. Good things tend to have a knock-on effect onto the next good thing. So good way to start. Any of those techniques.
And I would also suggest, rather than putting on that tatty old T-shirt and a pair of joggers on because you can't be bothered, get yourself dressed in the morning, put something nice on, make yourself look good, have a shower, wash your hair, whatever it is. If you're a girl who wears, makeup, then put your makeup on. Even if you're not going out, do all of those things, because you are going to feel better about yourself and more ready to face the day.
Yeah, and the key thing is, guys, like we just said, don't compare yourself to anyone else. It's you. Everyone else is completely different to you, in a completely different situation. You don't know what's going on at home in someone else's life. Everybody has their own problems. Just focus on yourself and focus on the positives of yourself. Don't focus on things which you deem to be negative, because in your mind they seem more negative and more detrimental to your journey than what others see. I think that's an an important thing to play with. Yeah. Right. Moving on, Wendy. Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine. Unless there are any other questions. But yeah, let's do that quick quiz.
Okay, cool. So this is for you guys. So we're just going to give you a couple of minutes to look over this, okay? Because some people, there's a way of sort of diagnosing whether you're an emotional eater or a stress eater. Now, have a look at these questions. We're going to give you a couple of minutes on the quiet and just see if any of these apply to you. And if they do, and you've answered yes to any 3 of these or more, then it could be quite highly likely that you are an emotional eater. So just have a look over those. I think even I've got a few of these, Wendy.
I think we all have to.
Yeah.
At some stage or another.
No, definitely.
I think they're messages from our childhood as well. A lot of them.
Yeah, I mean, can what obviously the impacts of parents have on us and how we tend to eat when we're younger have a big effect? Does it form solid sort of beliefs and thoughts in our brains?
I truly believe that that growing up we can have some reactions to food because of because of growing up the situation. Can I share something with you guys that is about me personally and indicates about my relationship with food? Would that be okay?
Yeah, go on. I'm sure these guys love it.
Okay. When I was 4 years old, I had polio and I was put into an isolation hospital. My parents could only visit me occasionally because at that time they didn't have their own car and so on, and they were only allowed to visit and look at me, see me through a glass window. Now, can you imagine what that felt like for a 4-year-old being stuck in a room on their own in a cot at 4 years old? The only people that I saw were nurses and doctors, and they didn't spend any time with me. I was just in this room on my own for several months. When I got home, round about the same time, I refused to eat meat. Now, I think in my head, I can't prove it because my parents are both dead, but my belief is that I wanted to punish my parents. They'd left me in that hospital on my own. When I came home, they were really conscious of me eating the right foods. And in my little head at 4 years old, I went, right, I'm going to punish you. I'm going to refuse to eat meat because that's what you did. You abandoned me in that hospital. I'm a vegetarian, which is fine. But I find it really interesting how, as children, we can either refuse to eat food or we can overeat because it's used in a particular way or because of the way we behave as children.
Yeah. I mean, from people that I've worked with, similar sort of case, Wendy, in the past. I mean, a lot of people that I've worked with on sort of like the lot larger scale in terms of sort of like 20, 25 stone plus, there tends to be a lot of trauma from the childhood, maybe like abusive relationships or sexual abuse in some cases, which is obviously horrific. I mean, there's been a few cases whereby there has been abuse, but then as almost like a sorry or a peace offering, the parents of the person in question then said sorry, for instance, for that or those circumstances by giving the child the food that isn't obviously ideal. So, for instance, sweets and cakes and biscuits and stuff. And then obviously that becomes a comfort. And I've seen that in a few cases whereby then that relationship with food is then built up throughout that person's life. And every time there is an instance of confrontation with someone, or any sort of stress or like that, then it has caused them to then go back and turn to food, which this person hadn't particularly thought about before. But then once they'd obviously spoken to the team, then this had sort of all come out. So, I mean, it's a case of, I mean, there's a whole variety of different people with different things like that, and it's something that I've heard a lot of, obviously, with the people I work with. Guys, if you think that there might be something stemming from something like that, then it's very, I would advise you to go and see somebody who can help you with that, because that sort of thing is deep embedded, and it's a very specialist thing.
Yeah, I worked for 7 years with specifically with rape and sexual abuse survivors as a counsellor, and there were clients who they would overeat and stay bigger because they didn't want to attract attention. They didn't want to be attractive to an abuser. So I'm glad you brought that up, because that's very, very relevant as well.
But so, I mean, this is saying in a totally different zone, guys. I mean, obviously, the majority of you obviously hopefully haven't been subjected to anything like that. But if any of you do think that something like that might be linked, then obviously we'd suggest that you go and seek help with that, because until you've cleared your mind or something like that, then that could be holding you back quite significantly. Anyway, moving on. Go on, Wendy. Go on, what was you?
No, that's fine. Okay. Move on. That's fine.
Okay, cool. So you're going to talk about mindfulness.
Yeah. I think I'd start with, is your mind full? Or are you mindful? And what's the difference? What is mindfulness? Well, for those who are not familiar with it, it's about being in the moment, in the present, and really paying attention to what's going on around you and within you. And because I think, as we've already touched on, the fact that if you're eating food and not thinking about it, you're buying food and not thinking about it, then you are not being mindful. So if we go to that next slide, Toby, and I think this is about it, isn't it?
Yep.
Being mindful of the food we buy, being mindful of why we're buying it, noticing the messages our body's giving us and being in tune with ourselves, being curious about those messages and asking yourself questions, as you've already touched on, haven't you, when you were talking about why you're eating that food. Do you really want that food when you have that snack?
In that 2-3 minute period before you're just about to grab and eat the stuff that maybe you shouldn't be.
Yeah. And making meal times really pleasurable, because I think if you just sit in front of your computer, if you sit, I don't know, if you're standing in the kitchen, washing up or something, doing something else, if you're in the car, eating as you're just snacking, or just eating your meal, or actually on the hoof, you're not noticing what's going in your body. Eating, I think, in front of the TV, how many people I see and they say, oh yeah, ask them, where do you eat? Oh, we watch TV, we have a meal on a tray in front of the television. Well, can you tell me, guys, how many times you do that, and do you really notice your food? Do you really, really notice what you're eating, what's going into your mouth? Do you really notice the textures, the smell, the flavor, the taste? Do you really, really notice that food? I would really encourage you to be in the present when you're eating. Enjoy that food.
Yeah. You know what, Wendy? I've had this before. Do you know what? I had someone once whereby I used to sit and watch the TV quite a lot in an evening time and eat their meal in front of the TV. And I actually asked them, I said, well, what did you, what sort of, like, make notes on what food adverts they see when they're sitting down across the week. And there's all this thing coming up. Obviously, you get like Mo Farah doing his corn advert and all this sort of stuff. And I said to them, "Oh, what sort of food do you sit and eat in front of the TV?" And funny enough, they were eating the same sort of foods on their plate that they were watching adverts on every evening.
Oh, how funny.
So yeah, no, it was quite it was quite interesting. But obviously that's going back to the start when we said the power of marketing, isn't it? It is
Yeah,
constant exposure
yeah,
to those bad sorts of things and the deals and the whatever that we get on the TV and in the supermarkets, isn't it? So yeah, no, sorry,
absolutely.
just I interrupted you mid-flow. It just sort of sprung to me.
Mm. And I would really suggest when you're eating your meal, turn off the turn off the TV, put your phone down, switch it off, your computer, put away the papers or magazines that you're reading. Yeah, don't sit and play a game, and really pay attention to that food you're eating, and slow right down so you're really enjoying every single mouthful. And just notice the difference. Even if you try it for one meal a day, just try it, because I think you would notice the difference in what you're actually eating and hopefully enjoy it much more.
And you know what? You probably feel fuller quicker, I would
Yeah,
imagine, rather than just shoveling stuff down while concentrating on something else. Because you're putting all your concentration on that food, you're going to know and you're going to be more mindful of when you feel full and you've
yeah,
had enough,
I think so.
rather
And
than
I
being
think,
distracted by
yeah,
something.
and I would say once you're in, you're noticing being mindful. It's about being mindful about your whole presence that we talked about. But I think when you're noticing when you're hungry, then if you really pay attention to your body, you will notice when you've had enough food. And then don't keep eating. Don't carry on. Stop at that point.
Yeah.
I
And
think if you just get in this mindfulness mindset, then I would suggest that you're going to notice when you're really hungry, and you're going to notice when you're full up and you're not eating more because you're hungry, it's just because of habit.
yeah. And also to add to that, guys, on sort of from my point of things as well, in terms of nutritionally what you're eating and how you're losing weight, then try and be more mindful of how you feel after you've eaten the food. Because on this point, I've noticed in the message that your body's giving you, if you feel tired and lethargic after you've eaten your meal, sort of an hour to 2 hours afterwards, then it's probably because you've had too big a sugar high or too much carbohydrate
Mm.
with your meal, because your body's gone up on a massive sugar high and then it's crashed again when stuff's been absorbed and digested. So it's little things like that as well, where you can work out what your body likes and what it doesn't like. And then obviously then, okay, with my evening meal, I need to tone down my amount of carbohydrate because otherwise I feel really tired. So you're eating dinner at 7 o'clock and by half 8, 9 o'clock, you feel like you're about to fall asleep on the sofa. It's probably because you've had something very carbohydrate dense with your evening meal, which one, you're not burning off, so it's going to be stored as fat overnight. And two, it's because you've had too much, which has sent your blood sugars up, and then you've dropped, and you're getting a massive low now in terms of your
Mm.
blood sugar. So, in terms of noticing the messages, as well as when you're eating, like Wendy said, for the sort of emotional and psychological side, then have a look and make a note of how you feel when you've eaten certain types of food as well. And play around with it, and you'll soon know if you're mindful of it, what feels good, what doesn't feel good, what gives you energy, what doesn't give you energy.
Oh, I have to say, Toby, I know that. I know it in myself. If I have some chocolate or something sweet, I know that I might feel great to start with, but about an hour later, I feel myself yawning, and I'm just so sluggish, and I've got no energy at all. So that really does work for
Sugar
me. I
high.
noticed that. Yeah, I really do notice that. I get that high, but then it afterwards, about an hour later, I'm just, why am I so tired? And I really do yawn, and then it can be the middle of the day. I think, that's what it was.
I
That
can't believe.
sugar high and then the drop. Yeah.
I can't believe you allow yourself to eat chocolate, Wendy. I'm joking.
Now and again, yeah. But yeah, I'm
Big
just
moderation.
noticing it happens to us all, I think.
Definitely. And guys, on that point, you've got to let yourself have the foods that you like and you enjoy, because at the end of the
Yeah,
day,
exactly.
don't restrict yourself from anything, because the more you restrict yourself, the more you're going to end up wanting it, especially in those times of stress and
Yeah.
the emotional zone.
And I think if you tell yourself so much, I can't have this, I'm not allowed that, I mustn't eat this, I think you just then you rebel, because that the first thing you want to do, it's like saying to somebody, don't think about an elephant. Don't think about elephants. The first thing you'll think about is an elephant, and you won't be able to get that elephant out of your brain. So I think it's more about what you want to do rather than things you don't want to do.
Yeah. It's about getting balance, isn't it?
It is. There's nothing wrong with having a treat, I don't think at all.
No,
as long as it's not, chocolate for breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Yeah, I mean, for instance, for the guys that are on this webinar and aren't with on our program, or know anyone that's on our program, I mean, we give our guys something called a cheat meal once a week, whereby they're good all week and they stick to their eating meal, and then once a week they can have whatever they like, whether that be sort of like 3-course meal or go out or takeaway, because obviously you've got to enjoy life. But at the end of the day, you can't feel guilty about if little things sneak in between. They're not going to be majorly detrimental to your weight loss, and don't punish yourself for that. If you want something at the end of the day, have it. It's just that the next meal or the next thing you eat, you've just got to make sure that it's good again. Don't, because you've eaten something bad in the morning and accidentally snacked on something, say, oh no, right, that's it. That's the whole day out of the way. I've now ruined the whole day, so I might as well just eat whatever I want. The next thing that you eat should be back on plan again. That's the whole thing with being in the present when you're eating and when you're trying to do this for the long term and make a change in your life. You need to get
and then you're back into that I failed, what's the point?
Yeah.
We were talking about that feeling of failure. What's the point? I've messed it up. I can't go back. No, it's too late. I've ruined it. And, all those negative messages. Whereas actually, it's a bump in the road. That's all. And then you just carry on.
So what? I enjoyed it. Now let's move on. Let's get refocused. Cool.
Yeah.
Moving on?
Yeah, brilliant. So, as I said, I'm actually a hypnotherapist as well, and we've already touched on the visualization, and I believe that hypnotherapy is a very powerful tool. It can, in assisting to change mindset and addressing deeper issues, and really the root causes of eating unhealthily. I think it's great going on diets, all of that, and
not diet.
More healthy. No, sorry, not diet. I shouldn't have said that word. I knew it was in my head. You see, that's it. Negative, isn't it? Diet, because that means you're denying yourself. Eating healthily, having exercise, doing those positive things. I think this is also a very good tool to use alongside all that other stuff, because it really can change your mindset. And I think it's great also for reducing stress, and can provide you with some valuable techniques that you can use yourself as well. Hypnosis is, people can shy away from hypnosis. They see by that program that was on television recently, I couldn't bear to watch it, Back in the Room.
Oh, that one where they had a group of people and everyone was doing different things. I saw that. I know what you mean.
Yeah, I know it was a kind of a game show. I think when people ask me about it, I say, well, yeah, but I don't have an earpiece in. I don't use an earpiece. That's the difference. They have earpieces and it's all set up. And I think it can devalue hypnotherapy, which can be very, very powerful. And people ask me, well, what is hypnosis like? Do I go to sleep? Will you make me cluck like a chicken? Well, no, I'm not going to make you cluck like a chicken. And no professional would do that. You can't be made to do anything you don't want to do that you wouldn't do normally. And I describe it's like daydreaming.
Yep.
We go into a hypnotic trance several times a day. And I could give an example. For those people who drive, you think about when you're driving along a familiar road and you suddenly think to yourself, where am I? I don't remember passing that particular place. You know you have, and you know you're fully in the moment with driving. If an animal flew across the road in front of you, or the car in front stopped suddenly, you know that you'd be there. And that's all it is. It's just that sense of daydreaming. So it's not scary at all.
And how about, obviously, Wendy, some people would have heard of like the hypnoband therapy. Can you tell us a little bit more about that? Because I mean, I sort of know how it works, but I don't know a lot about it. And is it something that you would turn to as a cure, or something that needs a bit of background work, or what's the deal with that?
Well, I think it can be very useful, and it can be very successful, and I think it's much more preferable to surgery.
Mm-hmm.
But like surgery, we know that people who've had the gastric band or that kind of surgery, whether it's stapling or whatever it is, that it will work at the time, but people sometimes then go back to their old habits of eating.
Mm-hmm.
So with it's not really addressing the cure, it's not addressing the root of the problem. It's dealing with the symptom. And so when I'm working with somebody, if they've got weight to lose, I want to find out first of all what's going on. What are the root causes? What's going on? What is really underneath it? Can we look at those first and see if there are other ways of doing it? Because rather than going straight for the hypnoband.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's not successful, because I think it can be, but I just don't use it straight away.
No. So it's something that you have to work up to, and like you say, it's addressing the underlying issue of that emotion rather than just sort of scratching the surface and just keeping the symptoms almost.
Yeah, you're just dealing with the symptom and not the cause. I think that's my personal view. I think other hypnotherapists might have a different view, but that's my view anyway.
Cool.
For what it's worth.
Great. Anything else on hypnotherapy?
No, unless anyone's got any other questions they want to ask about it.
No, there's none at the minute. So in which case we'll move on.
Okay.
So guys, on this, I'm going to jump in here. So on this idea of reducing stress, there's also this other thing called exercise that can help you reduce stress. Now, as well as the healthy eating side of things, obviously exercise is the other thing which goes hand in hand. And I know for some people it can be quite a scary thing, maybe a bit of a limiting belief that they can do it, if you like, which again, maybe there is sort of an attachment there or a fear there as well that we've been talking about. But exercise generally helps you to reduce stress. It gets rid of those negative brainwave patterns which are going through your head in times of stress and emotional eating. So just by moving yourself more, getting out in the fresh air, I'm not talking about going for a hardcore workout down the gym here, guys. I'm talking about sort of going for a 10-minute walk, 20-minute walk, just getting yourself out, being more active generally. Releases endorphins or happy hormones, and it makes you feel good about yourself, and obviously it clears your head and gives you time to think about things. And then at the same time, obviously you're burning calories, which contributes to your weight loss. And it breaks these thought patterns. It's a great tool. There's also music as well. Music break sport patterns too. Now, if you guys aren't a bit sure where to start with exercise, obviously you can go out, go for a walk, a little jog, or whatever you want to do. There's a little workout plan here, which I would tend to use with some of my clients who are just starting out, or more advanced guys, to be honest. Everything has sort of like the same format. It's just in case of the intensity and the exercise that you're doing. Now, whether you're again in the gym or whether you're thinking about doing something at home to contribute to your weight loss, you've got a warm up. Okay, it should be 5 minutes, sort of like a walk, or maybe stepping up and down some stairs, something like that, just to get your heart rate and your blood pumping round. Okay, to warm you up. And then we've got a cardiovascular component, which is a continuous or intervals. Now, this is your typical exercises, things like walking or running, exercise bike. Maybe you've got one in your house, cross trainer, treadmill. You know, that thing in the corner that's covered by loads of clothes, and you haven't even seen for the last 2 years. That thing that you just need to turn the plug on. So 15 to 20 minutes. You can either just do a continuous exercise on there, so just sort of constant walking for 20 minutes, 15 minutes, or you can do intervals whereby you speed. If you really want to push your results a little bit more, then 1 minute slightly faster, 1 minute slightly slower, 1 minute slightly faster, 1 minute slightly slower, and alternating those. Then into sort of more resistance side of things, you can do things like wall press ups, squats, lunges, crunches. I know they sound scary and some people might not know what they are, but there's plenty of videos on YouTube. You can look at demonstrations, or if you scroll through our website and the old blogs, you should be able to find some demonstration videos on there as well as our YouTube channel. And also then contributing to a cool down and a stretch there, just to make sure there's no injuries or anything like that. Again, you can find those stretches on our site or on the internet, and also just a bit of cardio there to keep the blood flowing. So in terms of breaking brainwave patterns and getting out of the stress mode, exercise is a great way to do it as well, guys. And obviously it's going to take you in the right direction in terms of your weight loss. And it's something you must add in for extra weight loss kick in the end. Nutrition will only carry you so far. But for those of you that are wondering in terms of weight loss, then it tends to be 80% what you're putting in your mouth in terms of the results, and 20% exercise, because there's no point in exercising if you're eating rubbish. It's not going to outweigh each other. The nutrition needs to be right before you do any of the exercise. So don't get stressed either over the exercise or generally use exercise as a tool. Okay, so a few more minutes left. Just want to open the floor to any questions that you might have. So send them through now, guys, like you have been doing, and to either me or Wendy, based on weight loss side or emotional eating side. I'm going to check them now to see if I've got any old ones that I've missed. So Wendy, I've got one here from Jackie. Are you still there, Wendy? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So I was just checking. Everything was a bit quiet this end.
No, I'm paying attention.
Okay, so Jackie says I try not to snack, but I find that I give in really easily, and then I get really disappointed in myself. What can I do to stop? I presume what you mean, stop that disappointed feeling.
Well, I think so she's saying that when she tries not to snack, but she gives in very easily. Is that what she's saying? Feels that sense of failure.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I think when we talked about earlier, I think stretching the time out is a really good one, and I've also the one you said, when you sit and put something on the plate and you know, stretch the time that way if the food is in front of you, and thinking about why you want to eat that food. Or, as I say, just trying to stretch the time one way or another, whatever works for you. I think you're going to use one technique or another. Either go and do something completely different for a few minutes, do another chore, or something you thought you'd do, make that phone call that you've been putting off. just something to distract you, or, as you said, looking at that food, putting it on a plate, looking at it and questioning yourself as to why you want to do it. And then just stretching the time. If you just do it for 1 minute the first time, don't feel a failure. You've done it for a minute. That's good. Try for a bit longer next time.
Yeah.
And I think that would be a really good way of trying to do that. And you're not a failure. You're still, if you were a failure, you wouldn't actually be trying to do these things.
Yeah,
The
exactly.
people who are failing are the ones who are not even attempting it.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Some people are sitting there not doing anything. You're actually getting up off your backside and doing it, aren't you? So that's a massive positive just to take. You're here right now and you're doing it right now.
Yeah, I think that's brilliant. If you're actually trying to do it, you're attempting it, and you're making those small steps, you're succeeding in one way or another. Even if you're thinking in a different way, even if you're just taking those small steps, then you're succeeding because you're trying to make a change to your life.
Mm-hmm. I've got another one come through, Wendy, which is probably one more for you than me as well. Loneliness and boredom is a major trigger for my emotional eating. What can help? Obviously, from my point of view, it'd be surrounding yourselves with others who are positive and obviously going to drive you forward.
Yeah.
But is anything from you on that one? Is that something that stems?
Yeah,
Is that something that stems from past?
I think if we're feeling bored, then what is in our lives at the moment? What else is going on? Is it that we're not filling our lives with other things? Have you thought about doing just something else? Have you thought about taking up a hobby, trying to do something that you've never tried before? Just thinking about what you'd like to do with your life and how you could work towards it. I think having that, I don't know if anybody knows about the Wheel of Life. Do you know about the Wheel of Life?
I don't know, Wendy. I personally haven't heard of that one.
Okay, you can find examples of it on if you just Google Wheel of Life. It will show you the different components of our lives, and it could be our relationships, friendships, work, leisure time, etc. And just look at it and see if your wheel of life is in balance. In other words, do you find that most of your life is filled up with work and you don't have any friends or time for friends and family? Is it that you are just not having any fun in your life? I have to say there are times, although I love my life, I have a great life, but there are times when I get so caught up in what I'm doing, I forget to have fun. And that means that it's just out of balance. It doesn't have to be all at the very top end, but imagine it like a wheel on a car. Is it in balance, or is it going to be a very bumpy ride if it's out of balance?
Yeah, so spoke there.
Yeah. So have a look on Google Wheel of Life and have a look at that, because that is quite a useful one. Trying to relieve the boredom. What else can you do? Get some ideas. Go out and do something different. Go meet your friends. Make some arrangements to do things. Try something new in your life.
Go to the places where there's people that are going to embrace you and surround you and push you forward.
Back to the radiators again, isn't it?
Yeah.
Go and find those radiators and keep away from the drains.
Yeah. Right, I've got one more, Wendy, I think we'll do. So what length, so it's a little bit for me and a little bit for you, I think. So what length of time is needed for change? I eat well, clean foods, very little sugar, and feel great. And then something crops up like a party or work buffet, and I have one of something, and then I binge, basically, and I can't break the habits. Now, for me, for the person who's written this, then I'd say that in terms of the eating side of it and the no sugar and feeling great, and then something pops up, well, at the end of the day, there's something always going to be pop up in life. Now, when those things do, and it sounds like you eat well for the majority of the time, then if you're going to enjoy that party or that work buffet or whatever you're having, then why not enjoy it? It sounds to me like you're constantly planning in your mind what detriment that's going to have to your success or your weight loss, where really it's probably not going to be as bad as you think it is. So to start off with, you're almost self-sabotaging yourself straight away because you're putting yourself in the negative, whereby you're setting yourself up for failure. And then where you said, I can't break the habits, unfortunately, bang, that's just a big negative thought which is going into your head. You're telling yourself that you can't break that habit. You're telling yourself you can't break that habit every time this happens. So instead of saying, I can't break the habit, why don't try it? Well, no, just try and move it around. Say, okay, yeah, well, do you know what? I can't get away from this. I'm going to eat what I like and enjoy it, and have what I like. And then if you do go on a binge, then sit down and think, well, how do I feel now? Because that's going to make you feel rubbish, bloated, etc., etc. If you're eating well all the time, which in theory should put you off what you've done, and obviously the other foods. Now, I understand from a hormonal point of view and a nutrition point of view, as soon as you get a big influx of sugar and you're not used to those high influxes, then you crave more and you crave more and you crave more, and that's very much from a nutritional and hormonal side. But then from the psychological side, it's just about not being so negative. I think here, Wendy, do you think?
Yeah, I think it's. I think as we were saying earlier that you feel that, oh well, I've ruined it now. I've had that meal.
Yeah.
I've been to that party. So what's the point? Now I'm on a downward slope, and I hear that you get that sugar rush and therefore that craving for more sweet things. But it is then just putting the other things into practice that we've talked about this evening, and I think just saying, okay, it's a blip. I can do this. Just keep, do that power pose, do that Superman or Wonder Woman pose, and go, you know what? I can do this.
Yeah.
Because that changes your whole mindset, I think.
Empower yourself.
Empower, yeah. You're in charge.
Yeah, that's it. You're in control at the end of the day, and you have to take. And I know it sounds.
Don't beat yourself up.
Yeah, and I know this sounds harsh, guys, but you have to be responsible for for one, the situation you're in, and stop blaming other people. But two, you have to be responsible for your actions. Nobody else is taking those. And I think once you get grounded a little bit with that, which is very much, well, an approach of moving forward, then you'll get more success, and everything slots into place once it's all there, and all the pieces of the pie together, if you like, so to speak.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. I've got no more questions, Wendy. So in which case, thank you very much for joining us tonight. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Yeah, I've really enjoyed it. I hope everyone else has as well.
Yeah, I'm sure there's going to be loads more questions after this as well. So what we'll do is we'll post we'll post your contact details on our Facebook page.
Yeah.
And maybe send an email to all these guys that are on here tonight about if they want to ask you any further questions or.
Yeah, feel free. More than happy. Either email me. Yeah, email me. We can have a chat. Whatever.
Yeah,
I don't mind.
Great. And the same with me, guys. If you've got any more questions for me now. Obviously, Wendy, there's going to be an opportunity for these guys to talk to you in a little bit more in depth and learn some more stuff on the emotional insight at our workshop that's coming up in June. That you're going to be there, and I'm going to talk to these guys a little bit about it now, if you don't mind. But obviously, that's going to be a great opportunity, isn't it, for them?
Oh yeah, yeah. I'm really, really excited about this workshop. It's going to be so exciting.
It's going to be
it's going to be great.
Cool. So, guys, Just to finish, I'd really like to introduce you to something that we have been putting together for the last couple of months. We are going to be running one of our weight loss workshops for you on the 20th to the 21st of June. It's a Saturday and a Sunday. And we're going to be talking and very much focusing about the whole side of sugar addiction, the emotional eating, eating addiction, and how you can obviously boost your weight loss both psychologically and physically. Now, it's going to be 2 days of intensive coaching, obviously with myself, Wendy, and Michael, who unfortunately isn't here tonight. And we're going to be talking to you about how you can get control of your eating and overcome a lifetime of different dieting and different things you guys might have done that we hear day in, day out. We're going to be addressing the emotional eating side, so more on a practical one-to-one and group level. So to move you forward, we're going to be addressing those past emotional triggers and all that sort of stuff, and doing exercises with you. And there's obviously going to be opportunity for you to get a bit of one-to-one help there as well. And we're going to be talking how you can basically get everything in total control. So if any of these points resonate with you, then this weekend is going to be for you. If it doesn't, then it's not really the sort of thing maybe that you're looking for and you need help with. So if you feel out of control around food and food is in charge of you and not the other way around, or you feel that your thoughts about food and your weight tend to dominate your life, it's constantly in your mind, what you're putting in your mouth, how much you've lost this week, you're looking on the scales every day to see what you've lost. You feel like food is something you reach for when everything's go wrong, like we've spoken tonight. Like most of you are probably in that situation because you've attended this webinar tonight. If you know or feel that you hide overeating from friends or family, or you feel that I know there's things out there like secret eaters and things like this. If you think that might be you, then this weekend is really going to help you. You don't know when you're full, or you do, but you just can't stop eating anyway. Eating binges, cravings. We're going to be tackling all that sort of thing, from the nutrition, the hormonal, the addiction, and the emotional eating side of things from every single angle. Honestly, this weekend is going to cover the whole lot. You hate yourself and you beat yourself up over overeating. We're going to be addressing self-confidence, self-esteem. Wendy's going to be doing some great stuff with you on that over this weekend. So here's a sort of snippet of what we're going to be doing over both days. So day one, you're going to be doing nutrition with me on both days. We're going to be going through exactly what you need to eat, how much you need to eat, when you need to eat, what's in food, why it causes you to gain or lose weight. We're going to be teaching you everything from a ground level. You will leave this workshop and you will be the expert, and you will know how carbohydrate processes in your system, why it causes you to gain or lose weight, what hormones are released. We teach you everything from a base level, so you know as much as we do when you leave, so you get an understanding of how food impacts your body. And also on an individual level, things like gluten, lactose intolerances, all those sorts of things. We will allow you to, this will give you everything you need to take you forward in terms of that. Then we've also got Michael on the first day. Michael is a eating addictions and hormone specialist. He's going to be talking to you about how stress affects your hormones, a little bit what we talked about on tonight, but he's going to be going a lot deeper into that, how sugar cravings work, why you crave more sugar, why you go on eating binges. And he's also going to be doing a bit of mindset stuff with you as a recovering addict, about finding your values, finding your big why you're losing this weight. Is it for yourself? Is it for other people? Is it so you can make a better life for you and your family? And he's going to be going through some goal setting with you. We'll all be doing a bit of that, and you'll build a much bigger picture over the 2 days. But that's what he's going to be focusing on. Wendy, do you want to talk a little bit about what you're going to be doing over the 2 days?
Yeah, that's fine. We'll be looking at depth in how the messages from your childhood, as we talked about earlier, can affect your eating habits, or what other messages you've received in life. Why is it? What is your relationship with food about? Exploring and understanding the triggers that make you reach for food, even though you're not really wanting food. There's an emptiness somewhere in your life. There's a void of some kind. We're going to be doing some mindful exercises that will help you get in touch with your body, teaching you how to use mindfulness in relationship to food, buying it, eating it, and so on. And just getting to know your body a lot more and being in the moment. Can I explain a bit more about how hypnotherapy can be used and help you, distracting you when you're reaching for food, help you be more relaxed and give you more confidence. And generally talking about your confidence as well and how we can improve your confidence and make you feel better about yourself all round. So those are the kinds of things I'm going to be doing, and also be giving you techniques that you can take away with you.
This is very much going to be building on on the foundations that we've laid tonight, isn't it, Wendy? This is going to be the practical side, the implementing side, the retraining your brain, isn't it?
Yeah, and really be much more in depth and getting people involved. When I'm talking, it won't be just about me just talking at you. We're going to get you involved as well, so that you really feel that your issues are being looked at as well, rather than just being, oh yeah, okay, that's in general. There's going to be some exercises, nice ones. We're going to have fun too. It's not going to be boring and dull. And I just want to say that I'm going to be there the whole weekend, even though I'm not going to be talking on Saturday. I just want you to know that I'm going to be there all weekend, so I won't be talking till later on in the Saturday, I should say, but I'll be there all weekend, so if anyone wants to come and have a chat or wants a one-on-one with me, then I'll be available. So I just want to make that clear too.
Yeah, well, I mean, we are all very different in what we specialise in, guys. I mean, there's obviously a slight overlap, but if you need to talk to any of us about anything that pops up in this weekend on a one-to-one, then of course we are gonna be there for you and to listen to you. On the Sunday, you can have more nutrition with me because it's quite a big area we need to cover. As part of that, guys, we are going to be giving you everything you need in terms of all of our eating guides and plans and all that sort of stuff to take away with you. You get all of that included, so you're crystal clear on what you need to do. And then obviously, Wendy, you're in the afternoon on Sunday as well. Big session.
Yeah. That's going to be about the mindfulness, so yeah, and the confidence, which I've talked about. But yes, it's all going to be about that.
The confidence is key, isn't
it?
Confidence, self-love, getting to know yourself.
Yeah.
Massive boundary breaking there, isn't it?
Absolutely, and I think with all the different issues that I work with generally across the whole of my practice, the bottom line can be lack of self-esteem. It can be such a biggie. It doesn't matter what people bring to me. So often when we really start working together and going through it, we find that lack of self-esteem is a huge one. Not feeling good about ourselves. So it's a biggie.
Yep. And then, guys, we're going to be going through personal plans. We're going to be giving you your own personal action plans to take away exactly what you're doing, what goals you're hitting for, and obviously everything that you need to carry on track and move yourself forward. So, yeah, guys, just quickly, I'm going to be covering with you how to kick through cravings, lose weight effortlessly, no calorie counting or points counting or any of this rubbish. It's all about eating real food. And then we're going to be going into how foods are processed, why they cause you to gain or lose weight, and then we're going to build on a solid eating plan to make it individual to you because everybody is different, and how you can tailor your eating to your specific body type. Michael Hilton, again, as I said earlier, he's going to be going in about sugar addiction, eating binges, emotional eating, a little bit there. And boosting weight loss as well as mindset, discovering values that are holding you back from your weight loss goals, in depth on hormones. Women, you are very, very complex, unfortunately, in terms of your hormone levels, and that has a big impact on the nutrition that you need to be taking into your body in order to give you maximum energy levels and optimum health. But also in terms of weight loss as well, that comes as part and parcel of that. Michael's always going to be talking about a little bit more about addiction in more depth and how to move beyond sugar and food addiction and upgrade your life and sort of get past all of that if you're stuck in a rut. And then obviously, as Wendy said a minute ago, she's going to be going through triggers with you, emotional eating, discovering new ways to address them. And then we're going to be going through all the practical stuff and the tools that you need to be overcoming that, to build on the foundations of what you've learned in this webinar tonight, and how you can manage your thoughts and feelings into the few coming months after you leave us, obviously with help from our support to take you further and aid you with your weight loss. Is there anything you want to add in there, Wendy?
Yeah, I think you've covered it all, really. I think you've covered it. Unless anyone's got any questions for us, they're not sure about anything.
Cool, good stuff. Okay, so I just had a quick message come through, Wendy. It says, would Wendy be willing to try any hypnotherapy sessions over that weekend? If you will.
Yes, I think we can do some, yes. The only thing I need to check, there'll be I don't know if you're sending it out beforehand, Toby, for anyone who's attending, just need to check with the people about their health issues, because there are certain situations where it's not advisable to go through hypnotherapy. So I think just to make sure that I'm not doing, you know, the one thing I really abide by is do no harm to my clients. So, but yeah, certainly, and we could do some relaxation. And I'm also going to be taking some of my MP3s with me that people can take away with them. They can purchase them for quite a small price. So if they want to try it, then
there's going to be opportunity there for you guys all weekend to obviously get one-to-one with the coaches, but also obviously if it's something you want to pursue afterwards, or you're particularly interested in, you think it's going to aid you in a certain area of your journey, then obviously that's all going to be open to you. So in which case, if there's a particular thing that you need help with, then by all means message us before the event if you think that this is for you, and obviously we can put in arrangements for that if we need to, but otherwise everything will be able to fall into place and happen on the weekend. So guys, just quickly, what's included with the weekend? So you get the 2 full days coaching with us 3 industry experts. Your lunch is included on both days and all your refreshments throughout the day. And there's also optional exercise sessions with us as well, or me in particular, in the evenings on both days, because I know some people requested some exercise. Now, on top of that, we're also giving you special additions to that to keep you going with more support after you leave us. We don't just want you coming in for this weekend, listening to us, learning, going away, and then a week later it all falls apart because you're on your own. And things are overwhelming you. So we are going to be supporting you after you leave. So you get access to all the Save My Life materials, both on and offline, with us. So that's all your diet materials, workout plans, all that sort of stuff. You get 3 months online support as well on a private Facebook group where everybody, no matter where they are on the program, whether they're on distance program or whether they're on a group program, or an individual coaching program, everyone's in the same place, everyone supports each other, and honestly it's like a family group. It's a great place to be. Everyone shares ideas, recipes, struggles, everything that you need is right there in that group. And we're going to give you, as just a bit of a token, you get 50% discount on all future events within the 12 months. So if you do want to come along to another weekend, workshop weekend, which may be covering different coach it with different coaches, or it might be covering different aspects of emotional eating, or whatever it may be, then obviously you get a bit of a discount there. The individual coaches will also be giving you materials, I'm sure, to take away with you to aid you with your journey as well. And obviously if you need any ongoing support from them, then that's something that you can arrange. Now, what's not included is your travel costs. Unfortunately, we can't pay for those for you. If you are a long way away, then accommodation is available at the venue for approximately £40 to £45 per night, so it's not breaking the bank. And we can also provide you a list of local hotels if you want to look for further savings as well. We are right near Stansted Airport in Essex, so in which case there is lots of availability for you around there. The only other thing that isn't included is the cost of your evening meal and any other drinks or snacks you may require outside of the refreshments or your lunch. Okay, so here's the big question that everybody wants to ask. How much is this weekend? It's that number? No, I'm joking, it's not really. We're not going to be breaking your bank account.
Yeah, not really giving anyone a heart attack, won't it?
Whoa! I always get, this program is so much more expensive than I actually think it is. I can't afford it and all this messages through the internet, but honestly, guys, it's pretty affordable. So the weekend, guys, if you're coming on your own, it's £150 for the weekend. For two people, if you want to bring a friend, then obviously you get £50 discount each there, and it's £200 for both days. So both days are included in that. It's one-off price, which isn't too bad. So again, just to cover what's in the weekend again, guys, 2 full days coaching with us 3 experts, lunch, refreshments on both days, and the exercise sessions, plus all your access to the Save My Life materials on and offline, 3 months online support ongoing, and if you want to upgrade that after that 3 months, then by all means you can do. There would be an additional cost on that, but that's obviously something we can look at way in the future. Focus on here and now, remember, and not included travel costs, accommodation, and your evening meal. So one person, £150, 2 people, 200. There is only 20 spaces left. We try and keep the groups to a nice number, guys. We don't want to load rooms and rooms of you. The numbers that we have allow us to separate you into small groups, okay, which means everything's manageable, and then obviously you get a bit more time with us as well on a one-to-one after that. So there is only 20 spaces left on this. But please bear in mind, this is subject to change in terms of the spaces, so we could reduce it down if we feel that it's going to be beneficial to the members. One other thing I want to mention, guys, is benefits of being in neutral space. Okay, I know it's a long way for some of you, maybe listening into this, but it gets you away from distractions and negativity that everyday life. Remember what we said before about surrounding yourself with people that are in the same boat as you, thinking the same way, positive thoughts, all want to work forward together. This is why our Facebook group and our online support is so good, because everybody is there for the same reason. And it gives you a chance when you come to an event like this to focus on you and not the other distractions around you, kids, family, work stress, etc., etc. You are not the only one facing these problems. Everybody has individual problems, obviously, but there is a lot of you sharing the same problems. You are not on your own. So you can immerse yourself in an environment of positivity and non-judgmental thoughts, and obviously expert opinion, and professional help and guidance to take you where you want to go. Okay. If you do not get what you expect out of this weekend, then I'm more than happy to give you your money back. Concentrate on what you have to do to change in your life over this 2 days, rather than other stuff around you that's just getting in the way and getting in your excuses zone. That's when excuses come, because your other things are hitting you all the time, and all you want to do is just hide your head. Get in a place, refresh, clear out the rubbish, take in the new stuff that's going to take you forward. So only £150 for 2 days intensive coaching and ongoing 3-month support. If you want to do it, guys, and you definitely want to do it, then you need to sign up here. You can go to this link directly, or you can go on to the main website and you can find it through the Save My Life Program homepage. So SaveMyLifeProgram.com/weight loss retreat. Go on there. All the information's on there if you want any more details, and also the sign up form. So what you need to do is you need to send the sign up form through to us, and then we will be in contact with you to discuss a little bit more and give you more information about the retreat, and then obviously go from there if it's something that you think is for you. These are examples, guys, of people who have made lifetime changes on this program. and coming to events similar to this. Sam, 2 years, 11 stone. Yes, 2 years. It takes time. Don't rush. You're not going to do 11 stone in 8 months. Yeah. Well, actually, Darren done 10 stone in 8 months, but exceptional case. But this is a prime example of how, if you get yourself in the right mindset, you can achieve that sort of that goal. Kerry, 6 stone, 24 weeks, phenomenal achievement, again in the zone. Sarah, 12 months, 6.5 stone, very realistic for most people. This is what you can achieve, guys, if you've got the help and support and the right information around you, and you've got the willingness to get there. But you have to overcome the hurdles to get there. It's not an easy ride. So link one more time, guys, savemylifeprogram.com/weight-loss-retreat. Only 20 spaces left, so make sure you get in. We will not be taking any more than that. £150, 2 days. So if you're interested, go to that link. If you want more information about the program in general, or maybe you're interested in one of our other programs, then you can learn more at savemylifeprogram.com, or you can go to the Save My Life Program Facebook page and request a call. Well, on both of those pages, you can request a call from us, and we can obviously talk to you further about what we do and how we may be able to help you. Otherwise, I'd just like to say thank you very much again to Wendy for joining us this evening. It's been an absolute honour, and I can't wait for the weekend at the end of June. And also to you guys for taking the time out, obviously, to come and listen to this and make a positive step forward, hopefully, in terms of the content that we've given you tonight, in taking your difficulties forward and obviously overcoming those. And obviously on a bank holiday as well. Have you got anything to say, Wendy?
No, I thank you very much, everybody, for listening. I've really enjoyed it, and thank you, Toby. I think the only thing I would add to that is I've looked at the venue. I haven't been there personally, but looked at it online. It looks absolutely amazing, and I can't wait to go spend 2 days there anyway.
If you want to look at the venue, if you want to look at the venue, guys, Little Hallenbury Mill in Essex is what you need to search for on Google. It's a beautiful venue.
It looks absolutely beautiful, and it's such a lovely place to spend time just on you, focusing on you and what you need and what you want without any distractions. I mean, that's pretty awesome, isn't it?
Yeah. And guys,
that time out.
On the venue as well, we've got this venue booked out for us exclusively for the whole weekend. So there's nobody else going to be there. It's in a quiet countryside setting. You're right on the canal. Honestly, it is an absolute dream.
Yeah.
And it is I'm sure it's going to be a fantastic weekend.
Yeah, really looking forward to it. So I hope some of you are going to join us, because it's just going to be just really exciting and a lovely, lovely, relaxing weekend, as well as lots of hard work. But getting you back on the track, to where you want to be, I think that's pretty awesome. So thank you. Thank you, Toby.
It's going to be an intense weekend. Great. Right, we'll let you guys go, because I know it is almost 10 o'clock. We've run over again, and it's getting late. And I'm sure you've all got little ones to attend to or whatever. So cheers, guys. Thank you for joining us, and hopefully we will see you in the weekend in June or on a future webinar. If any of you want to give this webinar to anyone else, and it is going to be available on the main website and the Facebook page. We are going to do, we have done a recording of it, so it will be available. And if they are interested with the weekend, obviously they can follow the links off there or grab them from yourselves. Thanks, guys. If you've got any other questions, then send them through now to me, and I'll answer them individually. Otherwise, have a great rest of your weekend. Cheers, Wendy.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.